Monero, the invisible money, the visible war. One of the biggest lies we've been told for years is this: Bitcoin is anonymous. But is it really? Welcome to History of Finance. Today we're going to talk about why digital money turned into surveillance instead of freedom, and about what emerged from inside this system, something most people still don't fully understand. Bitcoin is one of the largest open surveillance ledgers in human history. Every transaction ever made is written to the blockchain in a way that anyone can see, and those records never disappear. Over time, they only become easier to read. In 2021, when the DarkSide ransomware group demanded millions of dollars in Bitcoin during the Colonial Pipeline attack, they believed they were untouchable. But within weeks, the FBI tracked the funds and seized the money. The FBI didn't crack Bitcoin. What they did was much simpler. They read Bitcoin's public ledger and followed the transfers. Now let me ask you a question. What if I told you there exists a digital currency where it is impossible to clearly see where the money comes from or where it goes? Today's subject is Monero. Monero is not like other cryptocurrencies. The fundamental problem Bitcoin's creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, solved was double spending, not privacy. What does double spending mean? Think about it this way. If I send you a photo from my phone, you receive it, but I still keep a copy. Money doesn't work like that. Monero uses something called ring signatures. Imagine a crime has been committed. The police line up 16 people. Every person is wearing the same mask, and the police cannot remove them. They know the criminal is one of those people. The math proves that. But they cannot determine which one. When you send Monero, your wallet selects random past transactions from the blockchain and combines them with your real transaction into a ring. To an outside observer, every candidate looks equally possible. The result is simple. The sender becomes indistinguishable. Now let's hide the receiver. Bitcoin works like a glass piggy bank. If you give someone your Bitcoin address, every payment sent to that address can be publicly observed. Monero uses what can be described as an infinite locker system. I give you my public Monero address. That is my main identity. But when you send me money, your wallet mathematically generates a one-time random destination. You are not sending funds to my fixed address. You are placing them into an anonymous locker on the blockchain. Observers can see money enter a locker, but there's no name on it. My wallet scans the blockchain and detects only the outputs I can unlock. To outsiders, proving that multiple lockers belong to the same person becomes extremely difficult. The receiver disappears into the noise. Now comes the final vulnerability, the amount. If the blockchain shows that $1 million moved at a specific time, analysts can correlate timing and behavior. Monero prevents this using ring confidential transactions. Bitcoin is like a transparent bag. Everyone can see and count what's inside. Monero is like placing the money in a pitch-black steel case. No one can see inside. So how does the system prevent counterfeit money? By balance, not visibility. The blockchain verifies that inputs and outputs balance mathematically, without knowing the actual amounts. No money is created from nothing. The math checks out. So the obvious question is this: can this be broken? Governments ask the same question. In 2020, the United States Internal Revenue Service announced contracts worth up to $625,000 each for tools capable of tracing Monero transactions. Years have passed, the reward is still there. Some companies claim they can make probabilistic guesses. They can say maybe this output is related to that transaction. But courts do not operate on probabilities. They require certainty. And this is where Monero's strength becomes clear. Looking at the blockchain alone is not enough to produce deterministic proof. That is why, despite years of effort, no universally accepted tracing solution exists. But attacks are not limited to cryptography. There is another method: attacking the network itself. To understand a 51% attack, you need to understand the core rule of blockchains. These systems operate on majority consensus. In proof-of-work networks, the side with the most computing power has the advantage in producing blocks. A majority attacker cannot steal money from other wallets, but they can attempt something more dangerous. They can try to rewrite recent history. Let's simplify the scenario. An attacker buys a house and pays with Monero. The house is delivered. Then the attacker uses majority hash power to reorganize the blockchain and attempts to erase the transaction. That payment appears to have never happened. This is the theoretical danger of a 51% attack. In August 2025, claims emerged from the Cubic project suggesting majority influence over Monero's hash rate. This triggered fears of such an attack. But here is the honest part. What exactly happened remains disputed. Some technical analyses argue the claims were exaggerated or driven by marketing. Others examine the situation as aggressive mining behavior. The conclusion is clear. The risk exists in theory, but definitive proof of a successful takeover remains contested. This leads us to Monero's second line of defense: the community. Some projects have code but no sense of ownership. Monero is different. When a threat appears, the community reacts, sometimes through technical measures, sometimes through economic pressure, sometimes through changes in network behavior. Eventually, governments realize something. Breaking the code is difficult. Controlling the network is even harder. So a third strategy emerged: isolation. If you cannot break Monero, you try to starve it. This is where exchange delistings began. Major platforms removed Monero, citing regulatory and compliance risks. Liquidity decreased. Access became harder. Many people declared Monero dead, but that conclusion misunderstood its purpose. Monero was never designed to be a stock traded on exchanges. Its claim was always simple: permissionless cash. When exchanges closed their doors, another technology rose: atomic swaps. Atomic swaps allow two people to exchange Bitcoin and Monero directly. No exchange, no intermediary, no trust required, only mathematics. Either the trade completes entirely, or it does not happen at all. There is no middle ground. This removed exchanges from the equation. They remained convenient, but no longer essential. Now we reach the hardest question. Is privacy for criminals? Yes. Criminals can use Monero. That is undeniable. But criminals also use cash. Should cash be abolished? The real question is different. If criminals can use privacy, does that mean ordinary people should lose it? Privacy is not about hiding crimes. It is about security. If your salary address is public, your entire financial life becomes exposed. Donations reveal beliefs. Businesses expose cash flow. This is not about having something to hide. It is about being vulnerable. Without privacy, freedom becomes a slogan. Bitcoin solved double spending with a glass ledger. The FBI did not break encryption. They followed the open book. Monero chose a different path. It hid the sender. It hid the receiver. It hid the amount. It faced delistings and isolation. But technologies like atomic swaps changed the rules. The conclusion is simple. Privacy is not for criminals. It is for people. Because without privacy, a free society is difficult to imagine. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you found it valuable, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.